Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation by Councilman Corey Guy.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's remain standing. Our Father, which art in heaven, come thank you for this day. Lord, I ask that you continue to watch over the Vaughn family. We're missing our fellow council member here that you decided to call home to be with you. We ask that you continue to watch over his family, continue to watch over his community. And Lord, continue to keep his fellow peers and council members strong as we continue to serve this county and do it without him. Then Lord, we ask that you bless each and every mind up here on this county council so that we can continue to do your will and do what's best for the citizens here in Chester County. These and all other things, I ask in your son Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
All right, our first item of business is the approval of minutes for the May 19th, 2025 County Council meeting. Motion.
I'll make a motion we approve the meeting minutes of May 19th.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion?
I was absent on that meeting, Chair.
All right, thank you. Call for. You're ready. I'll call for the vote. Those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All in favor. All right, citizens' comments. We don't have anyone signed up to speak. Next is item 5A, which is a public hearing for ordinance 2025-11, Chester County fiscal year 2025-2026 budget ordinance to establish operating and capital budgets for the operation of the county government of Chester County, South Carolina, for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2025, to provide for the levy of taxes for Chester County for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2025, to provide for the expenditure of tax revenues and other county funds, to provide for other county purposes, to authorize the county to borrow money in anticipation of taxes, and to provide for the repayment of sums borrowed by the county governing body, to provide for the payment of tort claims and workers' compensation claims against Chester County, to provide for certain fiscal and other matters relating to the county government. I don't have anyone signed up to speak. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to that? Hearing none, I will say that this public hearing is closed. That brings us to our next item, which is 6A, which is the third reading of ordinance 2025-11, which is exactly what I just read. So I'll see if there's a motion for approval of the third reading of ordinance 2025-11.
I make a motion that we approve the third reading of ordinance 2025-11.
I'll second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Is there a discussion?
I have one question,
Sure.
Mr. Hester. I was in Great Falls at Mr. Vaughn's funeral Saturday, and I had some discussion with people, and then I read the paper, and there is a particular problem in Great Falls. They have not passed a budget. They're wanting to change the form of government. If there been any discussion about how we're going to be spending money in Great Falls with this budget, with the problem that they have in their government in Great Falls?
I do have a signed MOU with Great Falls going into this budget year for the fire service that the county provides. So Great Falls has signed that MOU, sent it back to us, and so from our standpoint, the other inner workings of their votes and forms of government won't take any, it will have no effect on our operation down there.
So our operation is, our commitment is not with the town council of Great Falls, this with?
It actually is just with the town. So our MOU allows us to provide service within the town limits, but it obviously represents all of District 2, which is a very important point. And then, so as far as so that service will be provided to all of District 2 from that station like it has been. And our service with the town of Great Falls is just their signature allowing us to provide service within their town limits, which we have to have that authority to do. And then their commitment to pay a fee to the county for a portion of that service.
The question is that if they don't have a budget in place, are we gonna be paying the salaries of the people until they do get their budget in place?
So their portion does not pay in full the cost of that service to the district. So if they do not have a budget in place, then I assume that once their budget is passed, which it will eventually be passed, then there'll be a catch-up to that cost if a payment. Now, they are current on their payments with us in the current year, so I have no reason to believe that they wouldn't stay current as well.
It just came up from some people on town council, so that's why I'm asking the question.
Yes, sir.
As to how we need to deal with that. So,
From our standpoint, I stay in contact with their administrator and just stay apprised of the happenings.
As well do I. Also been in communication too with Great Falls and the folks on town council as well as their administrator too.
So, Mr. Chairman, would you like
Yeah, go ahead.
for us to,
Mr. Esther. Say a few
Mr.
words.
Darby and myself will give a brief, just a highlight. It will be brief,
All right, we're not gonna go through the.
hopefully.
budget.
We're not going to do the whole.
Good evening. So we had a few changes at third reading that I'll go through, really related to, mainly to process and how we handle our purchase orders that need to carry forward. And so what we call that is a reserve for encumbrance. If you look at your ordinance, which you should have a copy of on the front page, actually it's on page 2. At the bottom, it will be Department 710. We've added a line item there to account for purchase orders that the good or service will not be received before June 30th of this year. And so we need to carry those items forward into the new budget. And so those are funded through appropriation of fund balance. They've already been taxed, and that money, that revenue has already been received. So we just carry that forward to pay for those items. And so those items total $162,073. Just to highlight a few of those, we have a firearms order for the Sheriff's Department that won't be received before June 30. That's $51,000. Uniforms for animal control that won't be received before June 30. We have a grant match at the airport for a lighting project that they have underway. That's $70,000 that we need to carry forward. We have a small medical supply order with EMS, and then we have some government complex improvements that total about $38,000 that we need to carry forward. So the total for that reserve for encumbrance is $162,073 as stated a minute ago. Also in the ordinance, we had to change our workers' comp premium and our property and liability premium. If you look at your ordinance, those would be departments 181 and 182. For our workers' comp, we received the premium from the Association of Counties last week, I believe it was. And so they finalized their numbers last week and sent us those. And so we had to adjust our numbers in third reading. Our workers' comp premium's going down $80,163. A little background on that, our experience modifier is 0.85, which ranks 12th out of 46 counties in the state. 1.0 is kind of worse than industry average, so we're doing better than that. So I think that's reflective in that number going down. So that's a good change. Our property and liability premium is going up $146,999. That's reflective of claims, property, our asset values, as well as our payroll and employee counts. So that's an increase, but the net increase between those two premiums is $66,836. And so that's reflected in your third reading ordinance. So the total change in the general fund is $228,909. So that's reflective in your total general fund number for next fiscal year is $36,996,518. A couple other changes is Chester Fire District. They resubmitted their budget last week. They are working on Station 10, some improvements for their roof and windows. And so they wanted to carry forward $100,000 to complete that project. And also the library submitted a request that they're approving some work on their main library, and so there's $30,000 they want to carry forward from the current year. So total appropriation change, if you look at page 2 in the ordinance, the total change is $358,909 from previous reading, and so our total appropriation is $59,699,727. Any questions on those? I'll give it over to Brian for his highlights.
Thank you, and if there's no questions on those changes, then I'm just going to run through a couple of highlights with regard to our budget. And I think this is important because, number one, we want our citizens to know about the budget that you all are approving and the high points of that. And so, Mr. Chairman and Council, these highlights, key points for final reading. First and foremost, there is no tax increase for the 3rd year in a row. The county's fund balance will be at the maximum allowed by ordinance, which is 50% of the general fund budget, and is projected to be $18,383,000. Layman's terms, this is our reserve account. The county's capital reserve account is currently $3.9 million and is projected to be at approximately $4.8 million in 2026 after our audit. This reserve in excess of fund balance that can be used for capital expenditures as per ordinance when approved by council. This budget includes a final year of a 3-year process of reclassifications and pay study adjustments for employees of Chester County, which includes all elected officials and their employees as well. Sorry, I thought I heard something. Which includes all elected officials and their employees as well. This has been an important process for our county and our employees to ensure that we are competitive in recruitment and retention of our exceptional staff. These adjustments will take effect in July. This budget includes a 7% increase for the Sheriff's Office, law enforcement deputies, and 911 dispatchers, as well as a 10% increase in detention deputy pay. The difference in detention deputy pay is to bring them closer to parity in pay of our law enforcement personnel. These adjustments take effect in January of 2026 and again are part of an ongoing effort to be competitive with surrounding counties and recruit and retain the most qualified public safety personnel. This budget includes a cost of living increase for other employees in January of 2026 of 4%, with the exception of exempt employees that receive adjustments in pay in July. In this budget, County Fire will add 3 new lieutenant positions to the Great Falls Fire Department beginning January of 2026 and will bring their staffing level to 3 full-time personnel on every shift, not including the daytime captain position. We will also add a training officer fire inspector to the county fire beginning in January of 2026 to ensure proper training is conducted and documented for all county and rural fire personnel. This will aid in ensuring that the county ISO ratings are maintained, and this person will also serve as the fire inspector in the districts and unincorporated areas that do not have fire inspection service currently. Finally, the county fire side, we will add 6 full-time firefighters at the Lando Fire District that will provide 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365 days a year, new full-time firefighter coverage to the much-needed and fast-growing Lando area of our county. This will take effect in January of 2026. On the EMS front, we have added in this budget 2 more full-time paramedics to supplement the already part-time staff in the western portion of our community. This addition to the EMS staff will allow us to have 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365 days coverage in the western portion of the community at the Westchester Station, where they'll be housed upon its completion, which is projected to be in the first quarter of 2026. Finally, on the EMS front, we will add 12-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week service to the Fort Long community beginning in January of 2026. These EMS personnel will be housed at the Fort Lawn Fire Station through a partnership with the Fort Lawn Fire District. Also, other noteworthy items included in this budget, we're adding a communications officer position for the county, a tuition reimbursement program for county employees, continuation of our contract for no-cost service to county employees with Low Country Urgent Care. We added a part-time litter pickup, litter crew member, added a part-time administrative assistant to the magistrate's office, a part-time staff member to the public defender's office to aid in recruitment, which is like an intern type position. And on the county allocation front, we did not decrease any county allocations this year, but actually brought many back to the previous year's numbers or close to. These are vital community services that are supported through those allocations. In this year's budget, we also provided assistance to the City of Chester for public safety, ensuring that the already installed camera systems throughout the city would be kept operational. This was not all done through increased revenue to the county. As we continue to do each and every year, we have found savings in our current operations. These savings totaled approximately $700,000 this year, which allowed us to do many of the things which I've listed. And finally, there are a few other areas to highlight. We have partnered with the Chester County Chamber of Commerce this year regarding our tourism initiatives in this budget, resulting in a cost savings to the county. The Gateway Center, which is supported by its own fund, finished this year being fully self-supporting and is projected once again next year to be fully self-supporting. All rural fire requests for capital and increase in their allocation were funded fully in this year's budget as per their request. And the last point that I'd like to make is that we will have our GEO capital bond resolution on the next council meeting for council to approve, with a potential closing date on that bond for mid to late July, as is customary. And then finally, I'd just like to thank Mr. Darby and Ms. Caldwell for their hard work as always on this budget, and I want to thank all of our county staff, our elected officials, for their fiscal responsibility, diligence, and hard work to make this budget work within our parameters that we had to work with no tax increase for all our citizens. Any questions?
Just want to thank you for your good hard work, creating a budget where we don't have to, where the citizens didn't have another tax increase for the third year. Thank you.
Well, it's all our staff, and it is. It's the entire county staff that does this. So, thank you.
I have one because I had some discussion with town council, Great Falls, Fort Lawn the other night. What is the time frame for the ambulance in Fort Lawn? Their perception was it was supposed to be July 1st. Is that not correct?
That's not correct. Yes, sir. It is actually January of 2026, but I do intend to go visit their county council. I've talked to members of their fire district out there, but I intend to go to their next council meeting, which I believe is
The first Tuesday in July.
It'll be in July, that's correct. So, but I do intend to go and speak and share the news with them. But I wanted to make sure we got through third reading first.
Well, I think what you're doing is the right thing to do. I'm just asking the questions because that's what I got asked. One other question about Lando.
Yes, sir.
I've had about 6 volunteers from Lando come and ask me, well, the new people going to work for Darius Murphy, or are they going to be working for Cale Benson or JP McNeil? Or who is going to be the eyes, who's going to be their direct supervisor?
So the new personnel will be county employees, and they'll report to Captain Brandon Edwards, will be their direct supervisor, who reports to JP.
If Darius Murphy tells them to do something and they say, we're not going to do it, what are we going to do about that situation?
So that'll be up to Mr. Benson, Mr. McNeil, for them to work out the parameters of that. But right now we have a partnership with Lando, an agreement with Lando, an MOU is being put into place with Lando. And so as far as the personnel management of that goes, they're county employees, they will be county employees. And we're coexisting through a partnership in their station with them. And we have a very good relationship with them as well.
I would suggest if you talk to people in Fort Lawn, it might be a real good deal if you talk to the volunteers in Lando.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Right. I appreciate everything you, Mr. Wade, and the people in your office do. But I'm hoping next year that you can come up with some to help the citizens. Remember I asked you about the people that's over 70. They wouldn't have to pay taxes. We got a lot of stuff coming in. I'm hoping you look at that for the citizens next year.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any more questions? All right, thank you.
Is there any more discussion from council?
Just piggybacking off of thank you to all the department heads and everybody who got together and did, what was best for your departments and the citizens of this county to better serve. So thank you very much for everybody involved.
All right. Yeah, so my comment would be just, wow, it's incredible. The list of things that we're improving and doing, and we're doing it all without a tax increase. It's really exciting. So that's only done through smart management. We'll give you and your team and Mr. Darby and all the crew credit. I think everyone feels that way, but just thank you. Keep it up. Big progress. And it's gonna help the citizens of Chester County because of it. Thank you. With that, I'll call for the question. Is there, I'll call for the question. Those in favor of approving the third reading of ordinance 2025-11, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right, all in favor? All right, next we have item 6B, which is resolution 2025-12, authorizing the disposition of certain real or personal property and providing for other related matters. Mr. Hester, would you want to give a brief overview of that?
If you don't mind, I'm going to call Mr. Ward up to address that, please.
Yeah.
Right, and this is resolution 2025-12.
Yeah, so if you just want to tell us a little bit about it, that'd be great.
This is the airport demolition that you're taking care of for Mr. Levester, that you have the memo for?
Yes, sir. So I do have a memo from Mr. Levester connected with this resolution 2025-12. Mr. Levester visited the airport on April 25th to verify there is a mobile home on the airport property that has been there for quite some time. The building was previously modified to have bunk beds and the electrical panel removed. However, the old electrical panel was disposed of, so there's no information on the age of the building. The building has water damage and the metal siding needs repair work, and the building currently has a no trespassing sign. So on May 21st, 2025, the Airport Commission had a special called meeting and they voted to demolish the condemned building on the property, and the Airport Commission unanimously voted for this. I have some further information, but I'm here on behalf of Mr. Levester if you have any questions regarding this vote by the Airport Commission.
And I can potentially answer some of them as well if you need.
Is there a motion? Is there a motion on the floor? Motion.
This is what you're talking about.
I believe so.
That's correct.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 2025-12.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, I'll call for the question. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Thank you. All right, that brings us to item 7, the administrator's report. Mr. Hester.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a reminder for everybody, we will be closed. All county offices will be closed June the 19th, next Thursday, in observance of Juneteenth. All recycling and landfill operations will stay on current schedule. Obviously, recycling centers are not open on Thursdays, but landfill will continue to be open that day. Work at Beltline Recycling Center is complete and it is back operational this morning. And so thank you for everyone for being patient with us, but work was completed as scheduled Wednesday through Sunday, with concrete being added for our metal as well as our recycling compactors. Code enforcement and nuisance abatement report. I just want to give you an update since we've created a code enforcement and combined that with our nuisance abatement and litter enforcement department. And just a little report that from May the 27th to June the 6th, which is a 2-week period, 20 different projects, complaints, litter enforcement related issues have been addressed. We're beginning the process of education, then notification before enforcement, Many issues are within the city that we receive complaints on many of the times, and those are being passed to the city's code enforcement program or their director, Mr. Macbeth, as well. I met this past week with representatives from the COG, our project manager and public works director. Both were involved in that meeting, and the meeting was really to explore opportunities for upcoming grants in the next grant cycle. The meeting lasted about 2 hours and was extremely productive in identifying some potential grants for Chester County. Obviously, many of those grants have several limitations, and so we have to see if the areas where the projects are, the areas that we need to focus on, if they fall into that LMI or if they fit the parameters of the grants. But we're actively looking at several of those grants for current projects and potential projects. We have a project that I just kind of wanted to inform everyone on, and Tommy touched on it when he said we were carrying over money from this year's budget into as an encumbrance for bodybuilding improvements. And what that relates to is the Bradford pear trees that are left standing and surrounding the building. And as everyone knows, they've deemed an invasive species. So our goal is to have those all removed. We're going to hold off on having them removed until September because we don't want to remove them and leave the ground barren. We want to replant. We're replanting 2 different types of oak trees in place of these Bradford pears. And so we have secured the taking of those trees down as well as the oak trees and planting of those oak trees in that carryover. So the best time to plant, I'm told, is October. And so we're going to take them down in September, plant them in October. So you will see come September, and I'll remind everybody when you ride by and see trees going down, we're going to put something really nice and beautiful down and try to really make it look extremely nice. So that'll be in September and October. And then, as I mentioned earlier, our GO bond will be on for the next meeting, as there's just a little bit of a process, as you all know, from a financing side to get that rolling. But that'll be our capital bond will be considered in the next meeting. And then once that's approved by council, and we'll explain that a little further in that next meeting as to what's in that general obligation bond, which is every year, and how we pay for capital. It's that recurring bond, but we'll talk about that more next meeting, but that will be on for next meeting. And with that, that concludes my administrator's report.
Mr. Wilson, can I add something to what he was talking about with the Tauber Regional?
Yes, sir.
The county council appointed me to the COG, and the first meeting I couldn't go to, I was in the hospital, but the second meeting I went to, and there's a lot of things that I had never heard of from the COG that were available. And I talked to Mr. Hester about that, and I was kind of amazed. I'm sitting there with the mayor of Lancaster, the supervisor from Union, a whole bunch of people, and these are things that I've never heard in this meeting, not just only as a board member, but as what goes on for us in the county that we're available for. So I think Mr. Hester's conversation with Ms. Ray the other day, and what we need to do is, there's a lot of stuff out there, potential that we can benefit the county with through the COG. So that's my report.
All right. Questions for Mr. Hester? All right, thank you. We'll move on to item 8, which is the consent agenda. We have 2 items. Item A is the second reading of ordinance 2025-12. Item B is the third reading of CCMA 25-16. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
We have a motion to approve, and is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll call for the question. Those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right, all in favor. Don't have any old business, so that brings us to item 10, new business. A, Councilman Guy, if you would give us an update on the Railroad Town Hall meeting.
Give you a brief update. A couple Wednesdays ago, we had myself, Ms. Mosley, Councilman Killian, put together a town hall meeting to discuss the railroad blockages in the city of Chester. We learned a lot in that meeting. Some of the things that we learned, LNC Railroad is no longer named LNC Railroad. It's now Gulf and Ohio, if I'm correct. So in the city of Chester, we have 3 railroad companies that come through the city of Chester: Norfolk Southern, CFX, and Gulf of Ohio. And in the city of Chester, if you live in the city of Chester, I know you have been plagued with the trains blocking up the road passages at some of the most inopportune times of the day. And it gets real frustrating. Sometimes people are trying to go to work in the morning. Sometimes people are trying to come home from a long day's work and have to deal with the railroad blockages throughout Chester. We found out that, not to call them out, but to be transparent, that the main culprit is Norfolk Southern. And one of the reasons why is because they have a transfer area right in the middle of Chester. If anybody's familiar with Clack's convenience store, you see all those tracks right there. That's where they actually switch over trains and hook up the new trains as they come from south or come from the north heading down to Columbia or either coming back. The good news is there's some help on the way, but that's going to be a couple years from now. The federal government and some local funds. There is a new transfer station that will be constructed further up Columbia Street, Columbia Road, up near G-Mart. Am I correct? It's up near the G-Mart area, isn't it?
Where the new construction's gonna be?
Yeah.
It's actually gonna be out on the other side of the bypass to eliminate them coming through there.
Well, we've got a new transfer area coming, but that's gonna be 2 years from now. And one of the reasons why is because the federal government, they've approved the money, but they haven't obligated the money yet. So once the money is obligated to the project, that project can begin. Ms. Mosley is working with some federal representatives and state representatives, and we did have some state representatives at our town hall meeting. And she's working with them, trying to figure out when that money's gonna be obligated. But in the meantime, we got a couple years to deal with it. So I've been in contact with some of the representatives from Norfolk Southern. Some of the things we're gonna work on is making sure that all of the first responders, the sheriff, the city police, the EMS, the fire departments are notified in a timely manner when these blockages occur. And then we're also gonna work on keeping the bypass open, J. Cochran bypass and Dawson Drive open at all times, because they do block J. Cochran bypass over near the B&D trailer park. And when that happens, you gotta come all the way back around this side of the bypass just to access Chester, the interior portion of Chester, or either the west side of Chester. So we're working so that they always keep at least the bypass open so you can access all points inside of Chester. The other thing is Norfolk Southern is open to coming and having a meeting with our Chester County Council. And once we come up with a solid plan and have a meeting with us so we can hold them to it, and they can stick with whatever they tell us, and we can hold them accountable. I'll be letting the chairman know as well as the administrator know when I get that information so that we can set that meeting up. In the meantime, if any other citizens have any concerns or any ideas to add to, one other thing I had it written down here. We're also gonna talk about the blockages being at a certain time of day so that the citizens will actually know when these blockages are taking place. They're publicized in the paper, so that you won't go down a certain street like Saluda Street and be like, I wonder how long this train's gonna sit here. They'll kind of know at this time of day, Saluda Street's gonna be blocked normally for 30 minutes or 20 minutes or what have you. So we're working hard to fix this problem so that at least we'll know until the permanent solution of the new transfer station is constructed and up and going. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that update.
If I could add something, the freight cars that block Chester then come to Richburg and block the railroad crossing in Richburg and at the high school and along that line in Fort Long. So it's not, it's really bad in Chester, but it just continues all the way down to Fort Long. And so if we're going to talk about that, there's a lot of signals that don't have crossing arms and things like that. If we can talk about it, maybe we can get all of it fixed at one time.
Okay, I'll add that to the list, and then I'll find out if that is, just like I had to give Norfolk Southern all of the street crossings in Chester, I'll get with you and find out which areas these are, and find out if these are Norfolk Southern crossings or CFX crossings.
GNO crossings.
GNO crossings, okay.
Mr. Guy, ain't most of the stuff coming from out of Richburg into Chester?
No, a lot of it's coming from the Charlotte area heading down to Columbia. And then when it comes back to Columbia, they do a transfer right there at Clacks to different trains to take it to other places. Like I said, the main culprit, one runs north and south, the other one runs east and west.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir.
It's gonna be right behind Mrs. Bagley's old home. Is where it's gonna be built.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so, next item of business is item 10B, which is a Human Resources Department update. Ms. Benita Mobley is our Human Resources Director.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and County Council. Thank you for allowing me this moment to share some important and exciting updates from the Human Resource Office. First, we have made changes to our recruitment process. We have now implemented PayCo recruiting module. All job openings with Chester County government are now posted through this system, and all candidates must apply online for available position. So to assess those that might not have internet access or might need help applying, we have installed the kiosk into Human Resource Office. Our staff will be available to provide support and help applicants navigate through the online process. In addition, we have scanned and uploaded all job descriptions into the recruiting module. Once a position is submitted, it automatically posts not only to the Chester County website, but it also goes out to Indeed, Glassdoor, and ZipRecruiter, which help us get a much variety of candidates that apply for these positions. Beyond recruitment, we continue to offer valuable opportunities for employees' development and well-being. We provide defensive driving courses and CPR training to all our employees, helping our employees gain essential skills that benefit both their work and personal lives. We also are excited to announce a leadership team building training for our directors and our supervisor. We provide, we'll be having that on September 19th. This session will be facilitated by Samantha Carter of Lighthouse Leadership Academy, which will focus on enhancing public speaking and communication skills with leadership influence, equipping leaders with the strategies to manage burnout and prevent exhaustion. Also, we'll be helping them improve work-life balance and time management. We also have several important events coming up to support and celebrate our employees. On September 27th will be our Chester County Employees Family Fun Day. This is a wonderful opportunity for the staff and their families to come together for fun and a relaxing appreciation day. October 10th, we will host our Employees Health Fair, offering a variety of wellness resources, screenings, and helpful hints to our employees. On October 14th, people will be offering a free biometric health screening for our work in our workplace. And then we have sent out an email that tell you how to register for this health screening. In continued support of employee health, we are pleased to share that Low Country Urgent Care has renewed their agreement with us for the upcoming fiscal year. This ongoing partnership ensures our employees continue to have access to convenient and reliable health care service when needed. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you very much. Is there any comments from council? Questions, comments? Well, thank you for that update, for the work that you do. All right, that brings us to item 10C, which is the consideration of Richburg Meadows subdivision bond, phase 1.
Mr. Ward, we'll have Mr. Ward present on that.
All right, that'd be great.
Thank you, Chairman Wilson, County Council. What you have before you in your packet is the bond for the Richburg Meadows subdivision Phase 1. As you know, in our current subdivision codes, all subdividers installing infrastructure either have to install that infrastructure up front and submit the as-built engineering drawings for them, or show a bond for that amount to the County Council to ensure that the infrastructure will be built. And this must be done before the final plat is approved by the Planning Commission and addresses can be assigned, the houses can begin construction. So we are at an exciting moment because Richburg Meadows is submitting their bond for Phase 1. This is Phase 1 of 4 for the Richburg Meadows subdivision on Gaston Farms Road. We have several members of the team here tonight for questions. We have Mr. John Asinga and Chris Robusto from Dreamfinders Homes, the developer, as well as Benji Lehman, the engineer from the Isaacs Group. This is a $8.870,973 bond. So again, $8.8 million and change for the bond for Phase 1. This is 68.4 acres, and it includes 163 homes. And this includes the stormwater internally, the internal water and sewer lines, sidewalks, the street trees, the roads, and the street signs. I'm here if you have any questions regarding this bond.
Have you got all this, what is the situation on sewer? I mean, I know they've got permission for a certain amount of sewer, but where are we on the sewer?
Yes, sir. So this subdivision is allocated for 400 units, which is the max that this current planned development subdivision will be. And they have submitted their as-built for the sewer lines leading up to the site to Chester Wastewater. That was submitted on April 3rd, May the 3rd. So they're reviewing them. They have found no issues with them so far. All the sewer lines are in the ground.
There's no progress on the sewer line going from Lando to Rock Hill right now, is that correct?
My understanding, although this is an unrelated project to that, Chester Wastewater is proceeding with the Phase 1 of the easement securing of that. But this is not tied into that sewer line to Rock Hill.
In other words, they haven't got the right of way to Rock Hill.
I can't speak fully on that, but I know they have been working towards that goal for some time now.
One other question. I believe you were there the other day at the Gateway Steering Committee, and Mr. Gamble, David Gamble with the Highway Department was there. And we asked a question about the bridges in Lando, the bridge over Fishing Creek and the bridge over Edgewood. In this section where they would build on Gaston Farm Road be coming into Lando. And Mr. Hester gave me a letter back from Mr. Thomas Gaines, who works for Mr. Gamble. It says the Edgeland Road Bridge over Fishing Creek, asset 774, is not currently scheduled for replacement despite its narrow travel lane and shoulder width. We recently reviewed the top ranked 350 out of 8,000 bridges in the state. This bridge is not included in that list. The current ranking formula for bridge replacement includes traffic volumes, traffic truck volumes, load posting status, and bridge condition. Deck width is not currently considered in this replacement formula, unfortunately. It says the bridge has a low volume of traffic on it. And so at the end of the day, when we put all these houses on Edgeland Road, that volume is going to go up, and that bridge in particular, and the bridge over the CSX Railroad that was built in the 1930s with WPA funds, they're not scheduled for any replacement anytime soon. So we're going to be dumping all this traffic in 2 tractor trailer trucks. We went down there and measured the other day. 2 large tractor dump trucks can't meet on that bridge. So we are just continuing to say, we're going to put a Band-Aid on this. But when we have a problem down there, somebody's going to come back and look at us because we allowed it to happen. And I'm going to make sure that everybody that I work for out in District 1 knows that I'm not for that until we replace those bridges.
Yes, sir, and I really appreciate that comment. I know how important to you and to the rest of the council it is that the infrastructure is adequate to meet the growth that's coming in, particularly when it comes to public safety. And please rest assured that even in the coming months, as we continue to work through the comprehensive plan between the Planning Commission and County Council, we will be looking at infrastructure, including roads, and all other aspects of this infrastructure that the growth is impacting, including bridges. And in the comprehensive plan, I believe that we can set a path forward to be sure that we're doing our job as Chester County to coordinate with all of our partners, such as SC, DOT, to be sure that we're providing the best and safest roads for our citizens. For this particular subdivision, I don't expect that they'll increase the traffic load on that particular bridge very much because they are so close to the interstate. But your point still stands, and it's a valid point. Thank you, sir.
I'm just bringing it up because all those people are not going to come out to Bojangles and make a right, go over, get on 77 and go back to Rock Hill. They're going to get on 901 and go to Rock Hill.
So we're at a point where we could entertain a motion for consideration of Richburg Meadows subdivision bond phase 1.
I'll make a motion for consideration of.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion for approval for that. Do you have any discussion or questions from council?
You have a second?
I do have a second.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, so we got 5-1. It is approved. Thank you, Mr. Ward, for that explanation. That brings us to number 11, which is boards and commissions. A is the Chester County Historical Cemeteries Advisory Committee resignation.
Yes, we received a resignation letter from Ms. Natalie Paul. She's no longer able to serve on that board, which leaves us right now with 3 open seats for anyone who would like to be involved with any historical cemetery topics that we have here and any locations that we have. Go through a great deal, and especially with the 250 celebration coming up next year. So there's a lot of neat and interesting historical things that you can find, even in old cemeteries. So anyway, so like I said, there's 3 open seats at this point. So if anyone's willing to serve, just please contact our clerk of council or look on our website for any other board or seats or commissions that we have available. So I would like to say that just to accept the resignation of Ms. Natalie Paul for right now.
All right, we have a motion to accept the resignation of Natalie Paul.
I'll second.
All right, motion and second. Is there any discussion? Call for the question. Those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All in favor. Next, we have item 11B, which is the Hazel Pittman Center Board of Directors resignation of Ms. Carol Grant. It's in my district appointee, and so I would put that in a form of a motion to accept that resignation.
Second.
Motion to accept. I made the motion. Mr. Rain seconded it, so we're good. So we have a motion and a second. She has a health issues, that's why she's resigning. We certainly appreciate her commitment to that board. She definitely has a heart for it, and appreciate her service there. I will take just a moment to plug that I have this position that will now be open in my district, District 4. Also have an opening on the ATAX board and the Construction Board of Appeals. So when some of the redistricting happened, that person in the Construction Board of Appeals no longer lives in my district, so I have to find someone that does. So I have 3 openings that I desperately want to find a good qualified candidate for each. So if anybody knows of anyone, please talk to me. We'll have a good conversation. I'll call for the question. Those in favor of accepting this resignation, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All in favor, thank you. All right, that brings us to number 12, which is executive session. A is a discussion of matters relating to the proposed location, expansion, of the provision of services, encouraging location or expansion of industries or other businesses in the area served by the public body, Project P2532. We have B, which is the same for Project P2549. And C is receipt of legal advice regarding a capital project sales tax commission and referendum. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Make the motion, we go into executive session.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.